Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you're having a wonderful time. This is a friendly reminder that our next session will begin shortly. Please make your way back to the ballroom and take your seats. We have an exciting lineup of speakers and activities that you don't want to miss. Thank you, and we will be starting soon. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now ready to begin our next session. Promotion of digital ethics to overcome problems that may arise due to current ICT developments. It is my pleasure to introduce our moderator for this segment, Aswin Sasongko, Indonesia Internet Governance Forum, IDIGF. Please join me in welcoming Aswin Sasongko to the stage.
Thank you for all participants and the speakers for the last session. Welcome to our session. The session is collaboration with the Ministry of Information and Technology and Indonesia Internet Governance Forum. My name is Juliana. I will be serve as the moderator, both online and offline for the session. The session will be divided into two parts. The first part will be opening remarks from the Indonesia Internet Governance Forum and Ministry Information and Technology, and the second part will be have discussion with the panelists. Next will be have, this time will be invited the chairwoman of Indonesia Internet Governance Forum, Mrs. Mariam Fatimah Barata, to give the opening remarks for the session. Ibu Mariam, the place is yours.
Ini nggak nyala. Sorry. Ini lampu bukan mic. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is great to see you, so many you here, and thank you to each and every one of you for being here today at this wonderful place. My name is Mariam Fatimah Barata. It is such an honor for me to speak on behalf of the organizer. Let me begin by giving you a warm welcome to the promotion of digital ethics to overcome problems that may arise due to current ICT developments. Before we start, I would like to express my thanks to APAC DNS for giving a Ministry of Communication and Informatics and Indonesia Internet Governance Forums, IDIGF, the opportunity to hold this seminar. We would also like to thank the speaker present, Mr. Boni Pujianto, Mr. Aswin Sasongko, Mrs. Helni Mutiarsi Jumhur, and Mr. Igede Putu Krishna Juliharta, as well as the moderator, Mrs. Harsyanti Juliana. In today's seminar, we would like to further promote digital ethics, especially to internet users. Users need to have this understanding, and this starts when users start using digital products, be it hardware, software, or internet platform. This topic was previously discussed in 2013 at HLLM IGF 8 in Nusa Dua, Bali, namely about cyber ethics. It should be noted that cyber ethics has been promoted since there is no global internet governance yet. Therefore, ethics is used as one of the tools to achieve a safer and more secure cyberspace. I do not want to take too much of your time, so I will hand it over to Mrs. Harsyanti Juliana, our MC today. Once again, on behalf of the seminar organizer, I would like to say welcome, and I hope you enjoy the seminar. Thank you.
The second remarks will come from Mr. Boni Pujianto. He is a Director of Digital Economy from Ministry of Communication and Information Technology. Mr. Boni Pujianto, the place is yours.
Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for me to extend a heartfelt welcome to all our speakers and esteemed guests from across the world in the event of APAC DNS Forum 2024 on the issue of promotion of digital ethics to overcome problems that may arise due to the rapid of ICT development in the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome at the Westin Hotel, Bali, Indonesia. even though we are gathering here in the room, but I may suggest you can enjoy the beauty of Bali and its culture, as well as you have to enjoy the fresh tropical breeze along the beach. So even though we are within a couple of days, we'll be in the room, but spend your time, spend your pocket to buy some souvenirs from Bali to increase the economy, mostly in digital economy. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So this event aims to provide a dynamic platform where to distinguished speaker, specialist experts from various countries that will discuss and gain profound insight on the issue of ethics across multiple sectors. Furthermore, our discussion goal is to foster collaboration among civil society and all stakeholders on various aspects of digital ethics, which come into every aspect of our life, as well as contributing to a global prosperity and sustainable future. Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here in Bali, a place where we known as the Island of God, that embodies a rich cultural heritage and is now becoming a melting pot of digital nomad and startup ecosystem. So the choice of this venue underscores our commitment to bringing traditional value with cutting-edge innovation, reflecting the spirit of collaboration and progress that we hope can be achieved throughout the session. Moreover, this event is planned to contribute to a deeper understanding of the issue of AI ethics, and mostly since the emergence of AI technology and its potential solution in many aspects and sectors. This forum is more than just a conference. It is a melting pot of ideas. This is a place for all visionaries, thought, and pragmatic solution to come together. Ladies and gentlemen, the impact of digital technology cannot be overstated. It is a driving force behind the unprecedented change in how we live, work, and interact. From healthcare to finance, from education to environmental sustainability. Hence, due to the widespread of its implementation, indeed, we need to find out the most suitable and innovative perspective and collaborative effort leading to the successful implementation of digital transformation initiative. And I do hope this seminar not only inspire, but also empower each one of us to contribute meaningfully to our global digital ecosystem. We are confident that the knowledge and insight we will gain, there will be not benefit for professional endeavor, but also contribute to the broader goal of global digital advancement. Thank you once again for your participation. We wish you all the success in your ongoing discussion and listen to our expert, and let's share our goals to create a digital empowerment future for all society. Thank you so much, and back to the moderators.
Thank you, Mr. Boni Pujianto, for the insightful remarks. Next, we will be invited and introduce the speaker. Sitting next to me is Mr. Aswin Sasongko. Mr. Aswin Sasongko is the part of Indonesia ICT Council and also the member of MAC Indonesia Internet Governance Forum. Also, I will be invite Mrs. Helni Murniasih Jumhur to the stage, the other speaker. Mr. Helni is the head of Center of Excellence, Policy and Ethics Technology from the Telkom University, and also Board of Commissioner of PANDI. The third speaker is come from the local, the Bali is Igede. He is Igede Putu Krishna Juliarta, lecturer from Primakara University and head of the ICT volunteer in Bali. Bli Krishna, please sit. We will discuss about digital ethics. What is this digital ethics? What the importance in this age of digital technology with the fast development and challenges we have today. We know that the development of regulation and ICT and the regulation in who is in digital technology is not and development, the regulation is not fast at the development of the digital technology itself. And our panelists will be discuss how to we tackle the challenge between the digital regulation and digital the fast development of digital technology. The first speaker who will be talk about this is I will give the time for Mr. Aswin to explain the idea and the insight and his experience on digital technology.
Thank you, Bu Harsyanti. No, I just wonder if I have to speak 100% in English. Everybody know Indonesian language here? Oh yeah. Oh, Pak Doni do not speak Indonesian, at least it seems. Okay, let me talk about partly in English, partly Indonesia. But today is about digital ethics. So hopefully everybody has know about ethics. We know, well, first of all, may I introduce myself. My name is Aswin Sasongko, Sastro Subroto. I'm from the multi-stakeholders advisory group of the IDIGF. Now, regarding ethics, we have to remember first that the word comes from ethos, means character. And it is a study of right or wrong, or moral and behavior. So it is quite important because it's connected to all people. Now, this ethic is related to culture, to our regulations, to public policies, and then, of course, to regulations. Our ethic in Indonesia is different with ethic in other countries. So the regulation in Indonesia also rather different with the regulation in other countries. But don't forget that ethics is also related to our religion, kepada agama kita. We learn ethics in the beginning, you know. Our religion say not to kill. You are not allowed to kill. You are not allowed to steal, and so on. You are not allowed to lie. Nggak boleh bohong. Jadi it is part of our religion. And it comes ethics. We have the culture. Then we have the regulations. Now, further development on ethics because of science and technology, we now have the so-called digital ethics, or sometimes we call it cyber ethics, digital ethics. Previously it was called cyber ethics. And as mentioned by Bu Mariam, it was in 2013 in Bali, in this place, in Nusa Dua. We are talking, Indonesia is promoting cyber ethics for the safe and secure cyberspace. So it is now 11 years later, we are talking again about digital ethics. Now, for you who remember, who come to Indonesia in 2013, then it was Indonesia hosted the 8th IGF, and the topic of the high-level government meeting at the time, high-level leaders meeting, is global multi-stakeholders collaboration for achieving a safe, secure, and tolerant cyberspace. Safe, secure, and tolerant cyberspace, enabling growth and sustainable development through cyber ethics. So, we have been talking about this since 2013. Well, IDIGF was set up before that, it's 2012, so it is almost 12 years ago we talked about this. And since then, we still promote digital ethics. And Pak Boni, one of the ICT director, also have a lot of socialization activities. Yes, Pak Boni. And those socialization also include cyber ethics, one of the topics. So it is still promoted. It has been promoted 2013 now until now. Now, Internet and ethics. Internet is carried out by so many organizations. We have ICANN yesterday, talk a lot about internet operations. Then we have Pandi that carry out that operate the .id. You have APG that operate the ID NIC, the IP address, AS number, and so on. So, what is important is that we hope all these stakeholders, Sally Costerton always mentioned about multi-stakeholders. We also want to stress that these multi-stakeholders should also take ethics into all their activities. Now, let's talk about operational type. All application operators choose their own CCTLD or GTLD, and they also buy their IP address. Now, contents can be uploaded by the operator and or users based on agreement between the operators and their users. Don't forget this one. There is an agreement between applications operator and the users who upload the UGC, user-generated content. Now, in this user-generated content, we have to follow the agreement that we make with the operators. If you use WhatsApp, you use TikTok, you use Zoom, whatever, you have to agree first with the agreement before you can download the operators, the software and then use it. You have to agree first. The problem, of course, sometimes people doesn't read that one and just click agree and then download. Is it correct? No. It's okay. But make sure you know the agreement and don't do something bad. Because in the agreement, if you look at those terms and conditions, the agreement is always, basically, you have to do good things. You have to do good actions. You do not make hoaxes. You do not make fake news. You do not impersonate someone. You do not make bad words. You have to follow local regulations. That is what the terms and conditions. So we have to follow this because it is our agreement to the operators. And we have WhatsApp, we have and so many applications. Now, Instagram, Zoom, TikTok, you can read all this. Now the problem is, if you do not follow your agreement, the terms and conditions, what will happen? Number one, you make cross the regulation. You will not follow the local regulations. Because in the agreement, most of the agreement also always say you have to follow the regulations. Now in Indonesia, for example, we have the regulation on content, we have the regulation on private data protection, and so on and so on and so on. You have to follow this because it is also your agreement with the operator of your applications. But secondly, because as I mentioned before, ethics is also related to culture, regulation, but also to religion. So you also, well, personally, I'm not a very good religious person, but I'm not aware of any religion in the world, at least in Indonesia, that says, okay, you must break your promise, then you are a good religious people. No, there is no. Almost all religions I know, they always say, okay, you must follow your promise. You have promised this, you have to follow it. Now, in the Ministry of Communication and Information Technologies, I used to work with several researchers there, and we did some study on that. Why hoaxes happen, why fake news happen, why bad words come to the inter-messaging services and social media, simply because they do not follow the terms and conditions as they agree. Then you have the problem with Indonesian regulations. Some of them get sanctioned and so on. But that is the sanction. I do not know very well about the regulation on the religious side. Now, as final notes, I hope my time is still enough. I would like to stress several things. Number one, promises should be kept, and socialization of these promises should be intensified. You have problem in Indonesia, you have 200 million, I don't know, internet users, 200 million something. It should be big job for Pak Boni to socialize these terms and conditions to 200 million people, but it is still possible. And currently, this is also important, I would like to mention this. Terms and conditions are mainly available in various applications for social media and internet messaging service, in Facebook, in TikTok, in WhatsApp, and so on. Now, at least this method of agreeing to good terms and conditions might be a deterrent for people using internet for not doing bad activities. So you see, I have agreed that I will not make fake news. At least this is a deterrent for you not to make fake news, you see. You agree that you are not going to cross any regulation in Indonesia. So it is a deterrent for you. And well, if you are religious enough, you must know that your religion doesn't like you if you break your promise. Now, I have a small joke here. You know, in the internet, we are using ICANN services. We are using Pandi services. We pay for our older services. And finally, the joke, of course, is very simple. We pay ICANN in US dollar. We don't pay ICANN in other currencies because they are in California. They have to pay people in US dollar. And in US dollar note, everybody knows it is clearly written, "In God we trust." So that is what is I read in the US dollar note. So, and in this case, it is a very religious word. Now, ladies and gentlemen, all my friends here, in the absence of global internet regulations, perhaps this ethic-based method might be proposed by us to as a global UN IGF program. Perhaps it is further studied. Okay, to make global internet regulation, as you all might aware, it has been mentioned in WSIS, which is one. Then no agreement was agreed. What happened then? The UN make the WGIG, Working Group on Internet Governance. They make some options for internet governance or global internet regulation. It is not agreed in WSIS 2, WSIS 2. So as a result of that, the UN set up the so-called UNIGF, United Nations Internet Governance Forum, so that people all of countries can talk about internet governance in the UN IGF forum. This IGF is put under the UNDESA, United Nations Development Economic and Social, Department of Economic and Social Affairs. This is what they did, and because of this absence of global internet regulations, so we have the IGF. So perhaps this ethics-based approach can be proposed as a global UN IGF program. Okay, but as I mentioned previously, this might be expanded to others. We can use internet because we use telecommunications. We can use internet here because we have fiber optics, we have satellites, and so on. So the proposal is very simple. Why don't we expand this method of ethics for terms and conditions to other ICT operators? So when you buy a SIM card, you have also to agree that I will use the SIM card, not to do bad things, to do only good things, to terms and conditions based on only good things. Not only SIM card, you follow telecommunication operations, you buy what you call it, Telkomsel services, Starlink services. You must also agree with their terms and conditions, which are good, and not using this for sending fake SMS or fake whatever, fake information, or using AI, as Pak Boni mentioned, using AI with terms and conditions. You already have AI applications now. Then you must also use this with good terms and conditions. So our proposal is that we can expand this type of ethical method to not only applications, but also to all ICT operators. Now, today, we will have also various presentations related to ethics. Hopefully, we can use cyber digital ethics to suppress cyber digital crime and make the internet flourish better and better for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Aswin, for the enormous presentation and insightful presentation. The second speaker will be Mrs. Helni Jumniati Jumhur. She will be explain her experience as the head of digital ethics at Telkom University as well as board of commissioner at Pandi.
Thank you, Mbak Juliana. I introduce myself. I'm Helni. I'm lecturer from Telkom University, and my course Cyber Law. I lecturing in electrical faculty and informatic faculty, and then I'm a member board of pengelola nama domain internet Indonesia, Pandi. And today we discuss about something difficult for regulation about improving security by raising ethical awareness of all people in using ICT. In my institution, we have organization. I head of policy and ethic technology, and from 28. We help government to create the regulation. Sometimes we help to solve some dispute in regulation ICT. And for discuss about the ethical, I have a few research about ethical. Maybe I want to give the sample use case about ethic of AI. I think something happening about implementation ethic AI, and Indonesia not yet have regulation about AI, but we have what the mean like roadmap implementation AI in Indonesia. At 2020 we have we call Strategi Nasional Kecerdasan Artifisial, and we have a prologue concept about the ethic AI. But in Telkom University we have research about how implementation ethic in ICT technology. The first when we discuss about improving security by raising ethical awareness of people in using ICT, maybe one question, why we need to improving security awareness of technology ICT, and why for now we need ethic implementation ethic for the ICT technology. I think in my opinion, we have research, but my research something theory, no implementation. I look some maybe my forecasting. Sometime regulation ICT formal, like Indonesia we call undang-undang, peraturan pemerintah, Perpres. It's difficult to regulate the ICT technology. Maybe someday we need implementation ethic. Ethic is part of the regulation ICT to implementation for some case the ICT, and we have research in AI. The first when we look why ethic is very important to implementation in AI, because AI is something technology is very complicated to regulate in regular formal regulation. Example, undang-undang is very difficult to implementation regulate ethic in Indonesia. The first I look when we implementation ethic AI, we must know what the potential and impact AI for human activity. I think every people in the world is very happening to what the mean use the AI for any activity, and I look AI can improve efficiency and cut costs of various business process and services. And the second, significance of ethics. Ethics is very important in the development of AI because it is significant influence society and daily life. And then ethical challenge. Railway development can raise ethical challenges that need to identified and addressed by government and stakeholders. To create the regulation from material, the ethics is very complicated when we implementation in ICT because we have the other word we call cyber law. Cyber law is some places is very complicated, but it's a challenge for everybody to make the regulation. To implementation the ethic, we must know how a stakeholder, because when we have regulation, we must know how a stakeholder to use some regulation. And some stakeholder in ethic, we look like customer. I think customer is end user to use the artificial intelligence, and workers, I think employees who may impact by deployment. And I have research is different workers, public and private area. In Indonesia, we have regulation about the internet, and we have regulation for public and private sector. And then the other stakeholder in ethic AI developers and engineers, because in ICT, the subject law is about human and technology. We have to standard, and it's sometimes very challenges and complicated when we have dispute about technology, ICT in cyber law, because we have to know about the human and technology standard. And then investor and shareholder who are concerned about the financial and reputation risk associated with the AI practice, and who may seek to invest companies and prioritize AI ethics. And then civil society, because I think ethics is some regulation, part of material. When we made a regulation from ethics is some material from the behavior human, and I think we can look what the behavior civil society have a standard about technology or behavior human. And the end is regulator. In ICT, we have two regulator, government regulator for governance, and the other regulator is sometimes we call independent regulatory body. I think it is stakeholder from government like a pentahelix, and sometimes this independent regulator made the regulation for ICT. When we use the ethical for AI, we must have principle, understanding and principle ethical for artificial intelligence. And then the first, we must have the same perception about what the AI ethic definition. When we create regulation, maybe 2020, we call Peraturan Presiden about the roadmap AI Indonesia. it's difficult for my team to find the definition what the AI in Indonesia, because AI is something new and very complicated technology and human, and is very heterogeneous material. And then when we understanding ethic AI, we must have the same definition what the ethic AI definition. I think sometimes part of technology have a different ethic, because material ethics sometimes from the community, and I look every technology have different community. The second is transparency principle. AI system must be explained, accountable, thereby increase public trust. And the third is principle of fairness. AI system must be fair, unbiased, and not discriminate certain individual or group. About a bias is something not easy to create when create the regulation about AI. When we have definition about the principle AI, we must have a standard about the trustworthy AI. I think the first, the importance of trust, the public trust is keywordly effective integrating AI in everyday life. And then stakeholder collaboration and proactive community involvement. And then maybe we can see what the challenges I have when I research about implementation ethic AI in Indonesia. We have benchmark from the other countries. Sometimes I benchmark from Singapore or Korea, because when we create the implementation, we research about e-government implementation AI in e-government. I benchmark in Korea. Korea have principle of AI intelligent ethic to implementation in AI in government. Korea the same. In Indonesia we have for internet we have regulation for public and private sector. It's different for government and non-government. And when we implementation ethical, we have challenges for government. Sometimes for lecture problem is some challenges to create the solve. We research about some challenges, and I have two challenges developing country when implementation ethic AI. The first about digital divide. I think digital divide is a big problem, and maybe government must have a lot of program about digital literacy, because I have my friend, he researched about how resolve the digital divide in Indonesia for implementation digital banking. Is have a big score gap digital divide in Indonesia about implementation digital banking. I think digital literacy is some solve to this problem. And the second about fairness and bias, because ethic in AI sometimes ignoring local values and norm. Because I look when I create the regulation in cyber law, we have two words. The one word is conservative law, word, like we have physically word, and the second word is cyberspace. I look in physically word, we have different value and norm, every country is different, but in cyberspace, sometimes I look, we have like homogeneous standard about the norm and value. I don't know, maybe someday we have a new sociology, human in cyberspace. I think it's different sociology human in physically world and cyberspace. In physically world, maybe we have different norma, because norma is something important to create the regulation and ethic. And in cyberspace, maybe we have homogeneous values and norma. It is just opinion. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Diana. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi.
Thank you, Ms. Henry, for the interesting presentation. We will now move to the third panelist. When the one and the second panelist will talking about the academia and government background, Bli Krishna will be talk from the practical experience how to develop digital ethic in digital technology in Indonesia. Bli Krishna is the head of the ICT volunteer in Bali, RTIK, ICT Relawan TIK is the people who has interest in digital technology and volunteer to helping the program on digital literacy or cybersecurity training or something. Bli Krishna, yes, I'm sure.
Yes. Okay, good morning everyone. It's an honor to me can speak here. We speak about initiative from the community regarding promoting the digital ethic. Let me introduce myself, and tadi Bu Julie said, my name is Krishna Juli Harta. I am a lecturer and in Primagara University and board of member Indonesian ICT volunteer in Bali since 2013. Okay, Bapak Ibu, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to mix using bahasa and using English. Why need digital ethic? We start from problem. Why need digital ethic? Because as we know, Indonesia have a problem with a digital ethic. Microsoft said like that, and in the this is a problem in social media and another media. Bali have a digital literacy index at 3.45, which is not in top 15 in Indonesia. Number 1 is Yogyakarta and number 15 is Lampung, and in Bali is still in 3.45. It means in a level average, and we need more effort to campaign the digital ethic in Bali province. Primagara and of course Relawan TIK Bali, we do this since 2011, but we try explain in start from 2021 in the middle of pandemic. In middle of pandemic in 2021, we can reach 5,000 participants. This is maybe 1% in Bali population. Talking about campaign about digital ethic and digital literacy. We reach 40 students in junior and senior high school, and then 1,000 people in 10 Festival TICA, that's mean 10 village. And then in pre-event in CGF, we got 3 participants. In 2022, we have a 4 program, campaign the digital ethic. We create we call it pemberdayaan desa, and then of course digital literacy, and special in Bali we made mabar. Mabar it's mean melajah bareng, learning together. We create program mabar. Melajah is a Balinese language. It mean learning. This is reached 5,000 participants in 2022. In 2023, we campaign digital ethic to school, to college, campus, to village, and also Mabar program. We reach 13,000 participants. This is apa namanya? This is majority in student in junior and senior high school. In nasional in 2024, relawan TIK Indonesia atau reach 5 do atau campaign digital literacy in 7 province. There is West Java, East Java, West Borneo, Bali, Riau, and South Borneo and Bengkulu. We reach 48,000, which is we targeting in SMK, SMA, and pesantren. And majority we do in we use offline with technique. Ladies and gentlemen, Bapak Ibu, this can happen because we have a strong collaboration between government, college, campus, and community. We say in this opportunity, I want to say thank you for government, Kementerian Kominfo, Bali Province, Denpasar Province, and other government. Digital ethics can we campaign to society, and of course, thank you for college, especially private college. Public college. Public college in Bali, like Primakara, Stikom, Instiki, and another one. And of course, community like Cyber Kreasi, Japelidi, ICT Watch, Common Room, and another. And I hope in 2025 and next, this campaign can more stronger, more incentive, because we know we have to build antivirus in every people, because this is a powerful weapon for against negative things in media social or internet. So we hope Indonesian people can use internet more positive and of course more productive. I think that's all. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you, Bli Krisma. Please give some applause for all panelists after the presentation. I understand the time is limited, so I open maybe for 1 or 2 questions for the people here in the room. Any question? Yeah, Mbak Sita. And also for the participant online can drop the question on the chat.
Thank you very much, moderator and the panelists. My name is Sita Laxmi, and I would like to, well, first of all, I know ethics is part of our life as a human, yeah. But it is also important to note that not all people understand ethics or being able to implement ethics. That's why we need law and regulations, because if everyone has some ethics, then there is no need to have laws. But my questions to the panelists is that why is digital ethics is so difficult to be implemented on the internet? Is it whether because it's so wide and people in different countries has different understanding of digital ethics? Yeah, maybe that's the first questions. And the second questions is how Indonesia is handling that. Ibu Helmi was mentioning on the ethics of Indonesia, but in reality, our government have more criminal sanctions towards its citizens rather than implementing ethics. So maybe some challenges on really implementing good ethics in Indonesia. So there are two questions. Thank you, Bu Juliana.
Okay, maybe Pak Aswin or Bu Helmi will be respond for the Mbak Sita question.
Yeah, that is interesting question, Bu Sita. Number one is ethical code is important because that's what we are taught by our parents since we are babies. We are small. You should not fight. You should not harm your friends, and so on and so on and so on. I mean, as a children, I do not know any regulation. I do not know Indonesian KUHP, you know. But my parents told me, KUHP. What's KUHP in Indonesia? Criminal code. I do not. You don't teach little children with what you call it, Indonesian criminal code or whatever other undang-undang. But you tell them not to fight with your friends, not to push your friends, not to not to do bad words to your in the classroom. You know, that's what everybody taught their children. And then they are grown up. I started to learn Indonesian criminal code in ITB, you know, in the university in my first year. That's what I learned. Then I learned more after I work as a civil servant. Then I learn again when I make the Indonesian ITE regulations. So that's what I learned. But since I was small, I was taught to do good things. Now, if possible, why not our parents also told their children, look, if you are using game and so on, don't do this, don't do this. If your name is if your name is ABC, don't write your name as XYZ, although you can do that. If you are a boy, make a picture of yourself. Don't make another person's picture. Don't impersonate someone. That is kind of things that parents should teach their children. That is what we call the modernization of parents teaching, parental teaching. This is what we have to tell our children. And that's why ethical is important. If we teach our children since they are small, then hopefully our cyberspace will be as what Indonesian proposed, a safe and secure cyberspace in the future, because everybody are following ethical codes. Now, why it is difficult? Yeah, because it's something like there are always people who would like not to follow ethical codes, not to follow even regulations. You just go to the many cities and you will see people who cross the street not on zebra cross, people who put their fiber optics not in a good place, and that is certainly not only across the region, but also that is ethical code. People who walk on the street, motorcycle who goes to the trottoir, and so on and so on. That's kind of, there are still people who are doing that, and then we have to tell them, look, ethical code is not only related to regulations, positive regulations like criminal code, but it is also related to your religion. So I think that's one thing that I would like to add to that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Aswin. Pak Aswin, is difficult question. I think it's a problem not Indonesia. I think it's problem in the world. But sometimes I'm confused, Pak Aswin, because when I see we call Undang-Undang ITE, we have regulation about cyberspace, but the regulation we call KUH Pidana about the physically space. I think it's not equal when we have a dispute. And why implementation ethic in technology is very difficult? Because in my opinion, ethic is some what the main specialist for the government, because ethic material from behavior, and I look in physically world, human have different standard for behavior, but in cyberspace and technology, sometimes human have the same or homogeneous standard for ethic. Example, I look government Indonesia is try too hard to create the ethic technology, Pak Aswin. Yes, but it's not easy, because when we create we call peraturan presiden, and we create what the standard ethic in Indonesia, and we have formulation. Every ethic technology in Indonesia must standard to the ideology we call Pancasila. And I think regulation for ICT must something general, not just for Indonesia. It is problem is too hard to implementation ethic AI by indicator Pancasila. Yeah.
I think I understand why it's difficult, because ethic is beyond regulation, and people, not only Indonesia, and I assume, but people still exploit the regulation for their advantage. It's very like Pak Aswin said, there is a regulation not to cross on the zebra. People can only stop the motorcycle has to stop on the zebra cross, but some people still break the law. So yeah, there is people who take advantage of the regulation and break the law. So what's Bli Krishna? What's your opinion about the?
Bu Sita, allow me answer in bahasa biar lebih gampang. Problemnya yang saya lihat atau yang kami rasakan di lapangan tentunya adalah ketidaktahuan mereka. Jadi mereka atau masyarakat mungkin tidak sadar, tadi sebutkan bahwa memang itu beyond the rule, jadi tidak sadar akan konsekuensi, tidak sadar akan resiko apa yang mereka hadapi ketika mereka menggunakan internet ataupun media sosial. Nah, ini menjadi problem buat masyarakat pada umumnya. Di Bali bahkan kita punya program namanya Bali Zero Blank Spot. We have a program Bali Zero Blank Spot, but tapi program untuk literasi digital itu tidak semasif dengan program pengembangan Bali Zero Blank Spot. Tentu ini memunculkan margin. Masyarakat secara teknologi, secara ekonomi mereka bisa menjangkau, tetapi secara literasi masyarakat tidak bisa menjangkau itu. Jadi kita butuh pemberdayaan yang kuat, butuh literasi yang lebih masif lagi sehingga masyarakat bisa menggunakan teknologi dengan baik. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Bli Krishna. He explained about why people why is digital ethics still difficult, because people, he shared the experience in Bali and Ertik, and people he need there is the low understanding from the people for how to use the internet, how to behave in the digital life. So I think I'll be wrap up the session. Thank you for all panelists. We will have the tea break short after before moving to the next session, and then thank you for all panelists and the audience who has been with us for 1 hour and then ask the question. And thank you for the people who are also attending online. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Please, moderator and speaker, we have take a photo session first in front of the table.